What's up?
This is my band. Back in the day. Welcome to Mead Talk. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you have not seen or heard of Mead Talk, welcome. Mead Talk is a place where we get to gather together and talk while we're on mead. It's a pretty phenomenal philosophy that we have here. In order to enter the realm of Mead Talk, you must consume at least 3 glasses of mead, which we've all done up here, right? I'm pretty sure we're all in.
Pretty sure.
Sure enough. So, we believe that mead dissolves the filters of the mind. It allows us to talk about things that, and make it a little bit easier to talk about things that we normally not talk about with folks. Although I'm pretty straightforward with what I like to talk about. I would hope everybody else is too, but I think it makes it easier. I think mead historically has brought people to peace, but also brought people to war, so we'll see what happens tonight. We have a fantastic guest with us tonight. Oh, by the way, we do this in front of a live audience, so you can always join us. Come on down to Ivy League Brew. Watch us participate. It's fun. You can ask questions, dive in, whatever. But other than that, our guest tonight, good friend, Patrick LeBoy. I said that correct, right?
You did.
Okay. Because I was going to say it a little bit differently, a little more attitude, but you know.
You could church it up and go with,
I mean,
wow, I guess if you want to.
Yeah.
I was going French, I'm Italian.
Yeah, I was, you're Italian?
You got a Le Boy.
Le Boy.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. I didn't know that. This changes everything.
Absolutely. It always does.
Tonight we got a pretty sweet subject. It's probably, it can get controversial at times, I believe, which is kind of weird that it can get controversial. But it shouldn't. But you know, the bad ones, you know, give the other ones a bad name, you know. But we're gonna talk about men. Not just men, but raising men.
Can you say that word?
What?
Can you say that word?
Say what word?
We can, because we can hear on the other words.
The M word?
The M word? Is that legal?
I don't know. What is a man? Wait a minute. Let's start with that. Do you guys want to start with that? What is a man? I've got my definition for what a man is.
You can hear the definition or our definition?
Well, I mean, I believe there is a definition for what is a man. But what would your definition be for what is a man? Or a man?
In my mind, I guess a man is the patriarch of the family, the leader of the family, and you know, you have responsibilities to protect and provide and lead.
You're getting into what a man does, but what is an actual man?
What is an actual man? It's a human being that has a penis and balls.
Okay, I got a different definition. What's yours?
Man is the XY chromosome.
Okay.
XY.
So I believe a man is an adult male. I think it's way more simple than everybody like. Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, I think it's way. And a woman is an adult female, right? So a man just explains.
It's hard to argue.
I mean, it really is.
It's really hard to argue.
Right? I mean, you know, I think it just explains what stage of life you're in. You know, a man is an adult male, you know, adult meaning you've gotten past all your pubescent stages and everything else. Probably in catabolic stage, we talked a little bit about this earlier, anabolic versus catabolic. You know, your metabolism changes, your physiology changes. You know, I would call, you know, after 25, an adult male.
feel like there's certain responsibilities you have to have to step into manhood.
Like a rite of passage.
Correct.
What would one of those main responsibilities be?
Bare minimum, pay a bill. Have a job and pay a bill.
Okay, but what does paying a bill do? Like, so there's something behind paying a bill. It's what, like taking responsibility for one's own life, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess bare minimum.
Yeah, bare minimum, like
Have something to live for other than just whatever it is that you want to do.
So I would call that self-sufficiency.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
but women can be self-sufficient too, so I don't think that's just like.
Yeah, and they would be a woman.
Correct.
Yeah. But I think a woman has
But a woman also has a
terms.
transitional state.
Yeah.
From going from being a little girl to being a woman.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, men do too, going from being a boy to a man.
Absolutely.
But like women, it can be. I think, and I mean, we're not going to dive deep into women and stuff. We're talking about men tonight, but but I do think that women, it's a little bit different, a little bit different categorization and a little bit different responsibilities wise and all that kind of stuff, what determines what a woman is, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say self-sufficient. I would say, based off of what you said, a man should be able to take care of himself first.
Yes.
So
If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else.
yeah, right. Yeah. So somebody that can take care of themselves. What else, Robert? What are some other responsibilities that men take on to be considered a man?
Should be toxic and masculine.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Toxicity.
Toxic and masculine.
I know what the two words are separated.
It sounds sexy. It sounds sexy.
It does. But as for the combining of the words, I'm not sure what that means. Like Chuck Norris, in my eyes, for example,
Toxic
is
male.
probably
He is the definition
the upper
of
echelon
toxic.
of being a man. And that, I would imagine, would be the epicenter of toxic masculinity. But I want to be like him.
Well, I mean, Chuck Norris doesn't have nightmares. Nightmares.
Have
Chuck Norris.
Yes. I once saw a snake by Chuck Norris and the snake died.
Seen that movie too?
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's like, he
I
can
get it.
gargle peanut butter.
Dude, he's the man. He is the man.
Like that must be what it means to be toxic masculinity. If you can do those things.
Yeah. He doesn't get wet.
So I'm all
It's
for
Chuck
it.
Norris.
Now one thing I do like y'all remember Lucas Black, the actor? He was the one that the southern guy, he did the Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
Y'all know this guy YouTube channel?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's all about bringing back masculinity. Like
Toxic
That's
masculine.
interesting.
yes.
Yeah.
But he should, he goes over like, if you can't change your oil, you're not a man. If you can't not beer, you're not a man. He's like, I'm bringing this back. I'm bringing back what it is to be able to.
That's good.
Yes.
I like that. So I do have a question. Like, toxic masculinity is this thing that's been percolating for like the past couple of years.
Yes.
A new thing.
It's new.
What is toxic masculinity? What is that exactly? What is the definition of toxic masculinity?
If I had to guess, this is my guess, it has to do with the man's ability to be an alpha or a sigma. In the sense that he won't take crap from anybody. If a certain party starts yelling at them and telling them to go away, if they don't tuck tail and run, they stand up for what's right. And
So like all the great leaders of this world who have made the world grow and become the world that we live in now, that we all have the freedoms to live and operate in today.
Yes.
So a toxic man.
I think we're about to dive deep here. So
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
yeah. So I am all for toxic masculinity as per, what people believe it is. And because I believe masculinity is extremely important in society for the simple reason that I believe men can love much greater than anybody else on the planet.
Truer for sure, yeah.
Now, love is not a feeling, of course. It's a devotion, it's a commitment to something,
I
right?
think the only thing that exists that can love greater than man on this earth is a dog.
Well, but
That's cold, that's
yeah.
true. That's so true.
But we bred them to do that.
But it worked.
Dang toxic masculinity bred dogs into loving them. That was the man quality showing out in that, showing out in the dog. But anyways, I say this because, great philosophers say, in my Bible says that the greatest love that you can ever exhibit for anyone is to give your life for them, right? The type of men that we need now in society are the ones that jump in front of a bullet. Take, for instance, what just happened, not too long ago, a few months ago, at a rally, when the first couple rounds went off. Some of the people that died, when those first rounds went off, they jumped in front of their family, and the next 5 or 6 rounds that went off hit them and killed them and not their family. Those are the toxic men that people talk about.
But see, I think there's a saying, a popular saying that goes around, and it's, a man saying to his wife or his woman or whatever is, "I would die for you." Okay, cool. Like, if women want to eat that shit up, whatever. I would die for you is not the same as I would live for you. And by that I mean, I would live to, if you're a Marine, dedicate your life to the country, to protecting, to serving, to giving. If that means giving my life, I lived so that you could be protected. Or in your instance, I lived so that I could get in the way of that bullet to make sure that you didn't die.
Yeah, I like that better.
Right. It's not I would die for you,
You just blew my mind over here. I didn't know this was going to happen tonight. You just blew my mind. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. I don't like to call it a diet. I like to call it living.
I live it.
We were talking about diet.
No, you live it. That's good. I like that. That's good.
I'd throw that. I'd blow your mind.
Who knew?
Yeah, I like that because you're living your life committed to that person, whether it means your life goes or not.
But that's toxic masculinity, right?
It is. It's extremely toxic. Now, I think that plays into the psychology of like how a man is, right? Like, and I've had this conversation with my wife. I said, okay, so when you get money, what do you think about? This was very interesting. This was a very interesting experiment I played.
That is a loaded question. I'm so shocked you asked your wife that question.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love doing this stuff. And she's thinking about, she thinks a lot about the kids, which is really great.
Sure.
Because she does a lot for the kids and everything. But a lot of it's like, what can I get from the thrift store? What can I find here? This antique and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. When I get money, I think about the future of our family. So, I'm thinking about, what I have to do right now to take care of my family no matter what. I'm thinking about the future of our family constantly. I am thinking about constantly how I can make life better for you and our children.
Matt, that's so toxic.
So toxic. It's so toxic.
You're oozing toxicity.
You can't think that
I need to get a detox, man. And but I find it to be it's, and I'm not saying that every man is the same. I'm not saying that every woman is the same. I'm not saying, But the majority, and statistically, when you look at like psychology and how they, the different categorizations and what women think, and what men think, and what they think about, it's pretty obvious there's a clear difference as to how they think and what they think about. And I think that it's extremely important for men to be masculine. I know I sound like Kamala Harris right now, just like, but.
Are you doing an ad?
What?
Are you doing an ad?
No.
Come on.
But this will be cut if it goes online, and it will be an ad.
Right? But, and we talked about this before at the bar the other night, and we're like, yeah, this is definitely what we need to talk about.
We should have had that conversation on Mead Talk.
We're about to.
Let's do it.
Raising men. We all have men,
Wow.
children, boys. We all have boys.
We do.
I have a couple of somewhat men, and
They're attempting.
yeah, they're attempting. One of them's doing both of them are doing pretty decent, actually.
The fact that you can even say that you have boys in this society is testimony.
Yeah, I don't know where that vocabulary came from. I'm sorry, I don't know what they identify as.
You didn't ask them.
As a
You
straight,
didn't ask them at birth
I
what
as
they
a
wanted to
straight
be?
white male am so sorry. So straight white Christian male. I should apologize for my being in existence. I am a terrorist. I am
You are everything that's wrong
wrong.
with this country right
I am everything that is wrong with this country right now.
I can't believe I'm this close to you right now.
You big ass beaker.
You smell like testosterone.
I mean, I can't believe I'm this close to you right now.
Yeah. So I believe men should be raised differently than daughters.
No. You don't say.
I do say.
No.
Certain
It's not
aspects.
so.
Certain aspects.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think the daughter should be able to shoot just as well as the
Oh yeah, totally.
No, there are things.
There's things
There
that
are
are
things.
wrong.
A little boy should know how to make their own beds, fold their own clothes,
Exactly.
cook their own food,
Clean the dishes.
clean
Right?
their own dishes.
Because when
Take
you're a
your
man,
garbage.
you grow up, you do that on your own.
Correct.
You gotta do that yourself.
You have to know how to live.
You don't. I mean, even though you don't want to do it, it's things that you need to know how to do.
Yes.
Right?
To live, yes, to
Yeah.
survive. Basic survival skills. All humans should know basic survival skills.
Yeah. I think that's the truth. We've been doing Cub Scouts lately with my two younger boys.
How's it going?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. They really like it. I really love the program that we're in because we're in Clanton, and so they're like really very Bible based, and so they're teaching them really good values and stuff. But it's really cool for other people, for them to see other people teaching them the same values that I'm teaching them and stuff. But one of the things that I just did not know, for whatever reason, I was ignorant to, right? Was that Girl Scouts is a totally different corporation. That's like, they do something totally different than Boy Scouts. And actually, they like fought.
Why do you think that is?
Huh?
Why?
No, they are.
Why?
No. But I thought they were the same. I thought they were the same entity.
How can that be? We're having a conversation about how men are different than women. Why
No,
would you
I
say-
know.
Okay.
No, I know. But I just assumed Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and they were just like two different sects of the same corporation. But they're totally different. Like they started different times, different people started them, and they've actually sued each other before. It's really crazy.
But Girl Scouts, it's just from what I've seen, my kids aren't in Girl Scouts. I've got two girls, and they're not in Girl Scouts. But in Girl Scouts, they teach little girls how to be girls, women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you know that girls are now allowed in Boy Scouts?
But boys aren't allowed in Girl Scouts.
No. Because they're two different entities, so. But
You can't build your fort that says no girls allowed. Just keep the girls out. What the fuck?
And you can't call it Boy Scouts and not girls.
What do you call it then?
they're about to change it
To Scouts.
They're about to change it to Scouts of America, which is what no, listen, this is what the whole lawsuit is about. The Girl Scouts are suing the Boy Scouts for naming it Scouts of America rather than Boy Scouts of America.
I do have a serious question. Can we say cuss words on this podcast?
Yeah.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to 2024.
So luckily, the leader of our Cub Scouts is
Turn
like,
the page, baby.
we don't accept girls into Cub Scouts because we believe they're different. And if they want to start a different section, that's fine. But we believe that they should be something. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's kind of weird. I do think, though, that girls would enjoy camping and doing some of the things that the Boy Scouts do. But the Girl Scouts don't do it. You know, they do something like it's. They do? They
Girl Scouts do go camping, for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
the CEO.
She's right.
Yeah, the CEO of the Girl Scouts, her husband told me that it was totally different.
They don't just sell cookies now.
That's all I thought they did. No, they do a lot of crafts and different things like that too.
It's like homemade. It's like early homemade. No, dude.
Yeah.
They go camping and make fires.
Do they learn how to make a
Well, then why would the girls want to join the Boy Scouts?
DI.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank y'all so much. Yeah, we'll give you a call, man. Appreciate you.
I mean, I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Like, as a man, as a little boy, even as a little boy, I had no interest in joining the Girl Scouts. Didn't want to go in the. I mean, it's got to be a parental thing. It's got to be a raising thing, right?
Yeah, it was very interesting to see the parents that were over that as well, and who the parents were of the girls that were in it and stuff. And it's funny too because they still have to separate them, you know.
Sure.
And like it's not like co-ed, like they can't go in the same bathrooms, they can't do the same things. It's like everything's got to be separated still. So why not just have a different section for girls and then boys? It just.
I think I have a little bit of, I mean, feel me on this, all right? So, when you and me were coming up, families stay together for the most part, a lot of times.
Yeah.
And where we are now is, it's way more common to have a broken family. You have a dad who's raising a daughter, or a mom who's raising sons, or, whatever. Your society is broken. It's super easy and super common and accepted. That's the goal, man. Because we're losing so many values. There's so many values that are being not necessarily lost, but demonized or just stripped in general, which would be, I mean, maybe just, it looks like you have something to say.
I would say that it started in the early 1900s when bankers wanted to get more money from families, so they devised a plan to start the feminist movement.
Well, no, I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it's that. I mean, hey, look.
We're going into conspiracy theory.
No, this is not conspiracy. This is well documented.
No, I think it got to a point where it was too easy for
Don't do that shit.
too easy for a woman to just say, you know what, I'm sick of my husband. I'm just bored with him. He gets on my nerves. He doesn't clean. He doesn't do this. He doesn't get my back. Whatever it is, it's just I'm done. And then you go get hired an attorney, and then you're just getting divorced, and then you get lost. Right. So then you have a woman who ends up with full custody of the kids, and we all know it's super front loaded in the beginning. Like the women are getting everything.
Yeah.
It's starting to straighten out a little bit now, and I know that because I'm in that. But in the beginning, it was so front loaded where the woman gets half your money, half your 401k, half everything, full custody of the kids, all the stuff. So then you got a woman, and 9 times out of 10 at this point in time, it's a young woman, late 20s, early 30s, and she hasn't made her own way. She's not fully established. She doesn't know completely who she is. She doesn't have everything. A lot of that time she was, being taken care of by maybe obviously a man, but what kind of man was he? Right. So now you got a woman who is on her own and doing her woman thing and has little boys and wants some masculine or male influence in his life.
Yeah.
So let's get him into Girl Scouts.
Yeah. So
or vice versa, you have a man who was a stay-at-home dad and his wife left him because he's a piece of shit, beta male, and now he has a little girl and wants to instill some real masculine traits in her and sends her to the Boy Scouts. Because he doesn't know. Because he was a product of that first.
But I also think there's the woman who, wants their girl to grow up to not need men and, hey, let's get them in the Boy Scouts.
And I don't disagree with that. I do think that everyone should be self-sufficient, because if the zombie fucking apocalypse hits and we all die and your man, your wife, your spouse, your husband, whatever comes, whatever it may be, you die in a car wreck. You should be self-sufficient as a human being. You should be able to provide for your children, your family as a human being, plain and simple. But if you are partnered up, it is a good thing to be able to rely on your partner to fulfill the roles that they're supposed to fulfill in the relationship.
Yeah.
And as a man, I have certain roles that I can do that you just can't. And as a female, you have certain roles that you can do that I can't.
Now, I do think there is a masculinity that takes it a little too far, right? And that's where abuse.
Those dudes don't have girlfriends.
Yeah. Well, that's where abuse comes in, And so, where.
But that's not masculinity.
No, I would say that's a man with woman feelings.
Yes, that's a man who's not able to keep his emotions in check. On a regular
Well,
basis.
I heard a guy that came out of prison. He was in prison for about 30 years, and he was like, a man with feelings like women ends up in prison. He's like, I've been around them all. I know. I know exactly what they look like. He said, when you can't control your emotions, like a woman can't control their emotions, he said, they end up in prison because they're more aggressive, they're more physical.
So, agreed. But as a man, you have a wife.
I do.
And you have a wife.
Yes.
Nobody is going to get under your skin and get your emotions flaring and get you in a place where you don't want to go like your wife will.
Oh yeah, because you're more vulnerable with them.
But being a man means making sure that you can, at the end of the day, say and do and whatever, but we're not going to put hands on it. Yeah, you can't.
No.
Now
there have
And
been.
then you're going to find a way to make sure that you rein that back in.
Yeah, there have been certain women I have told, if you're gonna fight me like a man, I'm gonna beat you like a man. But that was a crazy lady. You were there.
Yes.
Yeah, that was crazy
Yes.
lady that wanted to throw her beer at me.
Right.
And
Wanted
my
to
face.
swing and thought she was equal.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, we'll find out what happens. But I'll probably just pick you up and toss you before I do anything. But I'm just saying, you want to swing at me, I'm gonna swing back.
If I get my ass beat by a girl or a woman, so be it. I'm not hitting her back. Now, if she's trying to kill me, if she's trying to murder me,
I'm not even gonna.
if she has
let
a
it get
knife
that
or
far.
a gun and is trying to take my life, I'm going to do what I have to do to survive. I'm human. It's a human. But I'm not putting hands on a woman. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
See, I've always told people that I will never hit a woman. I will never hit a woman. But I'll shake her to death.
You just shake her.
Shake her to death. Woman,
Or just
woman shaking
I
syndrome.
mean, you can bear hug real hard. I felt it. Yeah.
Just get him with that love, boss. Get him with that love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she didn't do anything after I said that, which was good. But
Well, I mean, that's just the world in general. The threat of credible force, whether it's real or not, will deter a lot of action.
oh yeah. A lot of people are not who they say they are.
You want the smoke until the smoke comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I try to stay away from violence for the most part. I try to steer clear of that.
We fist fought in the backyard last night.
I mean, but that was fun.
Yeah, that was Fight Club.
It was.
You know, this
I love
actually,
Fight Club.
this reminds me of something Jordan Peterson brought up. Do you know who Jordan Peterson is?
I do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know you do now. So, you know, Jordan Peterson was talking about a lot of what it is to be a man. And, you know, I think somebody brought up, you know, well, what if there's a monster inside that man? He said every man should have a monster inside of him, but he has to know when to bring it out.
Agreed.
Every man should be so dangerous that they are feared, but they have to know when to bring that monster out.
That's the old
Chuck
saying.
Norris. That's Tyson.
It
Yeah.
is.
Tyson.
That's the old saying. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than it is to be a gardener in a war.
Yeah.
That's easy money.
Right?
Right.
Right.
I mean, I feel like that's a no-brainer.
You know, you would think. you would think that common sense would prevail. It doesn't.
Clearly.
It doesn't. The Bible talks about a two-brained society, right? It talks about a split in consciousness, like a split between people who can understand and hear, and then people who can't. Well, constantly, you know, Jesus talked about if you hear and understand, let it be so. If not, then, you know, he doesn't say if not, but it's included. You know, if not, I don't know what to do for you.
Right.
There's always a split in consciousness. There's people who did it, and there's people who don't. And I think that's what we're seeing heavily nowadays. We're seeing that heavily nowadays, and I think that was a lot in the days of Noah as well. But it was really ultimately Noah and his family versus the world, who had no common sense whatsoever, which is really interesting.
Which is probably 60% of our society right now.
You think it's that much?
I really do.
Really?
60%? Debate me on it.
I would like to believe it's the minority.
Common sense.
Okay.
Common sense or education, there's a difference.
Well, okay, so we talked about common sense on another Mead Talk, and I was
There's a lot of people who are educated. There's not a lot of people who have common
I was
sense.
sitting down with a really old fella, okay, over a campfire.
Well, no, those people are dying. That's the 4%.
No, but the information he gave me was phenomenal.
I'm gonna stop you right here because you're wrong. You're wrong.
No.
The people coming up now, they have too much information. We have too much information.
Okay, no, listen. I said, why is it that people don't have common sense? Like, people don't have common sense now. He said, the kids nowadays have all the information fed to them. They have everything given to them. It's at their fingertips.
The information.
Yes, for anything. They can figure out anything by looking at a phone, looking it up on the internet, whatever. They don't have to figure it out for themselves. So they don't have the sense to be able to figure things out.
Right, that's the problem. That's the problem is, all right, let's say
That wasn't your valid, that was exactly what you were going to.
I agree. All right, so when you were a kid, you wanted to know something, who did you go ask? Did you go ask Google?
No.
Who did you go ask?
I mean, my parents, or I went and figured this shit out.
Right, but again, if I wanted to know something that I couldn't figure out myself, I was going to ask my dad.
Yeah.
My dad knew the answers.
Always.
And
if he didn't
know,
know-
as an adult, I can say my dad was wrong a lot, but my dad was also right a lot.
A lot.
And you know what? Google is also wrong A lot.
A lot.
But Google, when they're wrong, they give you an answer that is so twisted and so fucked up to give you the answer that you want, to validate your feelings, because maybe you're feeling like, hey, what I heard was right, but I don't like it, so let me go to Google, and Google's going to validate my feelings.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this last Mead Talk, too.
We did? Yeah. Or y'all did?
Yeah. About AI and how it will feed you what you want to hear to validate, or to contradict, depending, right?
Kids are learning too much from the internet, and the internet has biases.
It does.
And not to say that your dad doesn't have biases, because obviously he does. But your dad's also lived a life and knows things, and Google is a computer.
Your dad has chosen to stay at the house with your mom and raise you. He has morals, obviously.
He does. My dad is a really, probably the best they've ever.
Right. So.
Like the same.
Right. So, if it comes to asking Google that has no morals, in fact, for the most part, the people that control it have no idea what the word moral means. Feeding you the information that you're looking for versus my dad who's been places, done things, lived a life,
Right.
obviously has morals, taught me a lot of those morals. If I have a question,
Human wisdom.
right? If I have a choice between asking my dad or Google, hey Dad, got a question.
Right.
Which the kids these days, it's also a part of, I need the answer and I need it now. I need it now. I've got a phone right here.
That's part of one thing that is kind of like building this sneaky society, this sneaky link society, this behind your back society that we have now.
Oh yeah, because kids will go behind their parents' back to do all these things,
or they'll play one set of parents against the other set of parents because nobody's parents are together anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. They do that at the house.
Yeah.
We will be sitting in the couch, on the couch right there. One of the kids comes in. Hey Dad, can I do this? No. Hey Mom, Dad said I couldn't do this. Can I do this? I'm like, dude, do you like the teeth in your mouth?
That brings me to my next question.
I feel that because Maddox will literally come. He'll go to Rachel, and I'll hear him do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll hear him talk to her. I won't necessarily hear the conversation, but he always knows. I've always told him, go ask Rachel. Go ask Rachel.
Yeah.
And he'll say, Rachel, can I play Xbox? And she'll be like, nah, whatever. The reason is, hey, we're cooking dinner, we're about to eat. It's about to be bedtime. You got football practice. Whatever it is, she'll give him a no answer, and I'll be nearby, in proximity, where I know he's asking the question.
Yep.
And then he'll come ask me. And my dumb ass, assuming that he's already, knowing that he's already gone and asked Rachel, will come to me and say, hey Dad, can I play Xbox? I'm gonna be like, yeah, go ahead. Whatever, dude. Right. And then he's cranking the fucking Xbox up, and Rachel's like, I told you could play it. And so, and then she's like, that's pitting one parent against the other.
It is.
But see, that's on two levels. That's on a level in my own home with my wife and my kids. What's the gap between what he's doing at his real mom's house the week that he's there and then the week that he's at my house? Because I know when he comes back to my house, he's soft as cotton candies. And then when he leaves, he's at least trying to be a toxic male. And what society is that creating? Like what? Because you're going to have this conflicting ideology that's built in this young man his entire life.
So why?
It's back and forth.
Before I get to the question I was going to get to, why do you think that it is that we have so much brokenness in relationships and marriages nowadays?
Honestly,
Say it.
Really? There's probably not enough Jesus.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I agree.
There's not enough people that follow Jesus, read the Bible, do what they're supposed to do, and even the ones that do, don't.
It's a front.
I would say that there's.
I don't want to say it's necessarily a front because I do feel like the people that try, or at least trying,
I think there's a lot
but trying,
of hypocrites out there.
there are.
I would go as far as to say that there's not enough like moral aptitude, right? There's not enough morals injected into the character of individuals anymore. And there's no reasoning behind the
That's also
morals.
the internet flaw.
What's that?
The internet kills your morals.
Yeah. Well, I would say there's not as much importance on morals or where they come from. There's no standard of morals anymore because God's been taken out of everything. Right? Because where do morals come from? And that's a very difficult question for a lot of people to figure out is where do morals. We obviously know that some things are right and some things are wrong. Why is it wrong? Who says that they're wrong? The atheist would say nothing is wrong.
Because they have no moral bearing. They have no idea how to explain where morals come from.
I agree.
And the Christian would say, well, these things are wrong because God says they're wrong. Because people have inherent value.
So I saw a video the other day that was very, very interesting.
I thought you were gonna say I saw a movie.
It's a very, very short video.
Y'all need a drink.
I do.
Yeah, it was a Coca-Cola machine, and you got to put a personal label on the bottle, and it
We'll try to get around here. We're tight.
but it allowed you to put. No, we're still going. But it allowed you to put a label or a name or something on the bottle. You could have a little cutout, and you could type whatever you wanted. This guy was there in front of it. He said, "Watch this." He said, "This is interesting." And he said, "I love Allah." He backspaced it. He said, "Oh, wait, watch this." He said, "I love Buddha." He said, "Oh, it gets better." He backspaced it. And he went, "I love J.E." It pops up in there and says, "Oops, I'm sorry. You must be mistaken. You can't put that here. Yada, 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 yada. I'm sorry. Yada, 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 yada. Do you think this is a mistake? Contact yada, 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 yada." That's where we are in society.
Yep.
There's only one religion or belief in this world that is chastised for what they believe in, and that is Christianity.
I disagree. It's not just one, it's two. It's Christianity and Judaism.
Well, Judaism, yeah. Which
is the stem.
one led to
It's a
the
root.
other.
It's a root.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Old Testament, New Testament type situation.
Right.
But yes, those two believe in the same God.
So why is it that Allah and Buddha teaches if you don't believe in my God, kill the people who kill those people?
Right.
If you don't believe in my God, I should kill you.
Yes.
Which is Christianity and Judaism believes if you don't believe in my God, I should love you anyways and try to show you the light.
Right.
But you know, it never says anywhere where if they don't want to see the light, you have to force the light upon them.
Exactly. It does say, "Go forth and proclaim the name of Jesus."
Right.
It tells you to go to all the lands and to let everybody have the opportunity to know Jesus.
See, I feel like
But it doesn't say kill them, tar them, feather them, behead them, anything like that.
it's stone, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, Jesus actually said, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone."
And I don't fucking know one. I don't know one.
I don't either. He died on the cross and rose again. That's the only one I know of.
I would also say that it says, if anybody doesn't hear the message, he who has ears to hear, let him hear it. If they don't want to hear it, shake the dust off your feet and walk away.
Yeah.
Right?
You think it doesn't say murder them?
No, that's pretty clear that it says to murder them right there in the Quran, right?
In the yeah. Kill all infidel dogs. It's the exact verbiage.
Right?
Something about a guy that was around 500 years after the crucifixion of Jesus.
Apparently he got it right. Yeah, he got it right because the Catholics told him that's what he needed to do.
But see, we have so on the topic of raising young men, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Raising young men. So how does this relate? All right. There's a movement of people, a large movement of people in this country right now that are actively, and I do mean actively, backing terrorists that believe that if you won't worship my God, I should murder you.
Yes.
And the people that they are backing are in a war, an active war that's going on right now that says we just want you to live and live happily, and when you die, go to heaven. They're trying to kill those people.
Wade, you're telling me,
I'm telling you, it's a true story.
that these people that are totally innocent, not just living their life, they're living oppressed. They're under the oppression of Israel. They've been so oppressed this whole time.
So oppressed that they just
And they're just trying to fight back for their freedom.
gave them a whole bunch of their land
They're just trying
and
to
said,
fight back.
live there, just live peacefully.
They're just trying to fight back for their freedom out of this jail cell that they've been in this whole time.
They're already free. They're already free to do whatever they want.
You know how to
If you had said that.
You know how to take. You know how to fix.
Sorry, dude.
You know how to fix that.
Yeah, no, I know how to fix that. Yes,
This
sir.
group of people that
Well,
wrote
it's called toxic masculinity. That's how you fix it.
It's send
The
them
world doesn't agree with
over
that.
there so that they can hold flags up for the certain group that's attacking another group,
Right.
and see how that group that's attacking that group affects them. Because when they find out that this group is a bunch of homosexuals and such that they believe kill on sight,
That's what's fucked up.
I know.
That's what's fucked
But they're
up.
working on them.
It's
what
like, hey,
Nathan
I'm
said. They're
okay
working on
with
them.
you
Yeah.
killing people as long as I can kill my own babies. That's
you
what
remember,
it
you
is.
remember Nathan.
I do remember that.
He was all about Palestine and Palestinians, quote unquote, even though they're not a real state. But we'll just call them Palestinians for the sake of conversation.
As a Christian, I am all in favor of all the people who live in the Gaza Strip living peacefully, happily, prospering.
That's the problem.
Like, just do that. Just do that.
So
Do that. Live happily.
I'm under the impression that the people that live there are just different tribes of Muslims that hate Israel, that hate Jews.
It's not
that
that,
want
it's
to
not
kill
that
them.
they hate him, dude. It's not that they hate him. They don't give a fuck. It has nothing to do with their feelings. Like, it's the
has to do
same
with their
conversation that we're having in America right now. The facts don't give a fuck about how you feel.
Yeah.
And when you live in Gaza, when you live under jihadi law according to the Quran, which I have read the Quran, and the Quran specifically says, if your opposition will not bow to Allah, they must die.
what is that?
Yes.
That is a direct order. If they
It
don't,
also says that you should follow the ancient scriptures, which is referring to the New Testament, Old Testament, and New Testament.
in where the Quran?
Yes, in several places, which makes the Quran completely invalid.
All right. So what makes Christians scared of God? What keeps Christians in check is the revelations, right?
Well, no, I would say it's so the fear of God.
You have this long book, you have this really long book of rules. All right, it's like football. We'll call it football. All right. So
Which book?
both of them. Both of them. It's the same thing. It's a rule book. You have this long book of rules. Here's the game. You have this game of life. If you do wrong, you're going to get a flag. Here's your flag. Your pass interference. All right. You're offside. You encroachment. Whatever you want to call it. You have these penalties that are thrown. These flags. They penalize you. It's the same thing. And then in Revelations, it says if you have too many penalty yards and your opposing team does not have enough penalty yards, if their score's higher than yours, you lose.
I have a different approach to this. I see it differently.
I mean,
Can I
there's a
say
lot
this?
of ways to
Can I
see
say
it.
this real
I'm trying to
quick?
simplify it and put it into sports terms because it's Sunday. My fantasy team smashed today, so I'm all. So.
Well, I see what you're saying. Go ahead, Robert.
In the Quran, it does say murder people, like murder your opposition. Murder your opposition. That's the
Kill
revelation.
them wherever you come upon them and drive them out of the places from which they have driven you out. For persecution is far worse than killing, and do not fight them at the sacred mosque unless they attack you there. If they do so, then fight them. That is the reward of the disbelievers.
Right. It also says if you come across someone who is in need of help, who is a non-believer, that you should help them, feed them, clothe them, give them water, make them healthy. Basically, feed them like hogs and then murder them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It really does.
It also
Become their friend and then murder
Befriend them, make them feel comfortable, make them feel safe, make them feel at home, fed,
That
clothed,
sounds a
water,
lot like
and then
Hitler.
murder them. Huh?
That sounds a lot like what Hitler did with surrounding countries.
And you know, it
Sounds
also
a lot like
says
my wife.
that they can lie to them. It says they can lie to them and deceive them into becoming believers.
Okay, so I have a different approach.
I thought we were talking about raising kids.
We are.
Yeah, we're just
Right
we're
now.
explaining right now what's not.
We're on the bad side of the circle.
We're on the moral compass part
Yeah, okay.
right now, right?
I like it.
So to me, because you have the ability to do bad, you are bad. So let me explain this for a second. Some of the worst people in the world that you would think are the worst of the worst, people who crucified people, people who tortured people, murdered people, ate people, right? They were all human.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the fact that we can't do the same thing. It's the only difference between us and them is what drove them to do that. Right?
Right.
I have the same capability as any one of Hitler's henchmen that murdered people in cold blood.
Sure.
I have the same capability as any evil person out there to do evil. And because I have that capability, I am not, by definition, good.
That's not true.
I believe that is exactly what the message of the Bible is.
So you believe that Jesus says because you can do bad, you're bad.
Totally. Because the only thing that is good is God.
I like that. I like that. That's good.
Because if you were good, you wouldn't have the capability of doing bad.
Well, I mean, you're also, that's conflicting because you're born in His image, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but we are all fallen creation.
We are fallen creation, but you're still born loved, and you're loved every day, no matter what, as long as you seek repentance, right?
No, you're loved regardless. He loves all of his children.
You're loved regardless.
Yeah.
Even if you don't seek
So you can't
repentance.
say that because I can do bad, because like my kids can do, and the Lord knows I'm not God, and I know we're close to it, and I'll never be close to it. But like my son, I know he can do all the wrong things, and I'm gonna love him anyways.
Yes. It's fatherly love.
Right. So how can you say just because you have the capability to do bad, you are bad?
Yes. Exactly. We are. You didn't let me finish.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
That's
I like the interjection. It's good.
It's me.
Well, I mean, it's man talk, so I have pauses, and so it's understandable. Us men, we have to think about things and how we say things, right?
I thought like men just kind of like shoot from the cup.
All the
Man, I
time.
think we do that too.
All the time, but I think,
I don't need to think about something as long as my wife does.
Yeah, she thinks about it for me.
She'll think about it for days and weeks. and as a matter of fact, years, because she'll bring it back up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's
And I'll be like, what are you talking about?
I think it's important to understand that every one of us are living in sin. And that's why we need a Savior. Right? So that's why we need God. That's because we strayed from Him. We were made in His image. We were perfect in His sight, right? We were that individual until we made the decision to not be. Right?
We're doing a talk show. You can't do a talk show with anybody.
No.
Go play.
We're,
You can't stay with me, baby. You gotta go. I love you though.
I want to go.
Go have fun. Go play with Preston.
yeah.
Come on. Come on. You gotta go there. Go.
Just go. It's okay. We'll be together soon.
Go away, Patrick.
But yeah, so I think it's important for people to understand where we are as individuals, because I know for a fact that I am not good, because I do bad things all the time. I know that I try, right? I know that I try. I know that, consciously I can't, I say I can't, but I do my best to think things through and to do things methodically and to, be compassionate, to be, the things that I'm supposed to be. But I know that I'm not always there. I'm not always on par, like with what normal, anybody would say is good, right?
It's the last few lines of the Lord's Prayer. Deliver me not into temptation. Save me, deliver me not into temptation. Save me from my temptations.
Yeah.
We're human.
And that's what I mean. What it is to be human is to not be God.
Right.
Is to be sinful in nature.
Agreed.
Which is bad.
It's easier.
It is
for
bad,
us-
but you can't say just because you have the ability to be bad doesn't mean that you are, because you always have the
Hold on.
choice. That's it.
Well, no.
I think that's where I'm missing.
Hold on, but let's define bad.
Okay.
Bad.
Let's not.
Huh?
Let's not.
No. This is what'll clarify it for you. Bad is without God, right? So
Okay.
let me. It is the
That's fair.
distance from God. So you know what Albert Einstein said in class once, right?
Which one?
When the teacher was talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was asking him about what was it? God,
Oh,
right.
he was asking if evil existed.
Yeah, evil.
Right? And the kid, after
Oh, you're talking about the black and white example.
yes, everybody went through and everything, and one kid stood up and said, "Wait a minute." He said, "Teacher, does cold exist?" And the teacher said, "Well, obviously you can feel it. It's there." And he said, "Wrong. Cold is defined by the absence of heat." He said, "Teacher, does darkness exist?" And he said, "Well, of course it does. We all know, we can see darkness." And he said, "Wrong again. Darkness is defined by the absence of light. The only way we can measure darkness is by how much light is in the room. We only measure the light, we don't measure the darkness. It's not real. But we have a word to explain it."
I like that too.
He said, "So teacher, does evil exist?" And teacher said, "Well, I don't know now, what are you going to say?" And he says, "Well, obviously, evil does not exist. Evil is the absence of God."
It's true.
So that's what I believe bad is. It is the absence of God. We separated ourselves from God.
All right, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this, and not that I am, but let's just for the sake of argument, take God out of the argument.
Okay.
There's no God. Okay, hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
there still has to be a moral compass. So
Where does it come from?
Well, okay, agreed. I'm with you there. I'm with you there. But again, if we're talking about how we're raising young men in a society today, I do believe thoroughly that God is the answer. But at the same time, for the ones that don't, there has to be some kind of moral compass that you draw from. There has to be some
God
sort
is
of
the answer.
Agreed.
God, God wrote it on our hearts.
Agreed.
Thank y'all so much.
So it's impossible to take God out of the equation.
Even atheists use the moral compass of God to explain what they believe and why it is so.
I agree. I'm on the same page with you. But I'm just saying, in our society, there's a lot of people who don't. And for those people that are raising these children in this society, where are they drawing their moral compass from?
They think they were
How do we
drawing
get to a point where we say this is right and this is wrong? Where do they
think
get
it's
that
being
from?
drawn from instinct or ancestral knowledge or whatever. I've heard all kind of different.
I know. Well, if you get down to the root of it and what they study in college, nothing is wrong by definition. Anything is okay. But they say that it's societal standards. Well, where do those societal standards come from? They say that it comes from nurture versus
Societal standards.
nature. You know, we all get along better because when people aren't killing people, we thrive. Well, not really. We've thrived off of killing people for a very long time.
So hold on. If it's not okay to kill somebody, or if it is okay to kill somebody, and we need to thrive as a society, would it not be best to kill pedophiles, rapists, and murderers? to
And
further
save
society?
the children that are being aborted?
Sarcastically. Can't they do whatever the fuck they want?
Yes, no, technically, in their
Why do we have laws? Why are there police?
Yes, their reality.
Why is there military?
is-
Why are there countries? Why are there borders at all? Why don't we just do whatever the fuck we want to do all the time?
Yes.
That is the Satanist handbook, word for word.
Oh, okay.
Do what makes you feel good, and that is what the current society believes is all about. It is teaching. Out of the 69 pages that exist in the Satanist handbook, the moral of the Satanist handbook is do what makes you feel good.
So how do we raise a kid in that? How do we raise a kid in that?
That was going to be one of my questions. How do you raise your children?
I raised my children the way that God told me to raise my children.
And how, more importantly, how do you raise your boy?
Well, man, I'll say step one, I make sure my boy knows that he's a boy.
Yeah, that's a very important.
Because boys, contrary to popular belief, are necessary for the reproduction, bare minimum, to the planet. Like, you can't have an all-woman society.
Unless you're in the Amazon. Fair.
But, I mean, that's cartoons.
Just as you can't have,
You can't have an all-male society.
yeah, you can't have one without the other.
I think
I think you had a race. All right, let me pose this question, because I think it's...
Hey, your mic got really excited over there.
My mic clearly liked this question. So, if you took a society of all men from, let's just say, sustainable age, what would you say sustainable age was for you? 13? 15?
13 to 15.
Okay. What is the sustainable age for a girl?
Probably about the
About the
same.
same? About the same? All right. So, if you took 100 boys at 13, 14 years old, adolescents, and 100 females at adolescence.
So funny, I was about to say the same thing.
And you said, whichever one lives the longest wins. And by that I mean the last survivor. Which one is going to have the last survivor? Probably.
Only because men, or even boys, because at that age you start the hold my weight bear and watch this crap.
Right.
Stop.
Well,
Right.
I was going to
Right.
say a little bit different. I thought you were going a different route with that. But I agree, women all the way.
I think women would last longer.
Probably because the men would be like, hey, we got to take care of the women.
Oh, men are like young men are dumb. That's why they need guidance.
Oh, when the Titanic
But they also need guidance from a man who has done all the dumb shit that he already did.
I am a firm believer that teenage males are the dumbest creatures that exist.
100%.
Rick and Bubba quote.
Yes.
100%.
It is, and I completely agree with you.
Teenage men are the dumbest functioning animal on planet Earth.
2 of them in my house.
So when
God
I
bless you.
agree.
God bless you.
I agree.
I'm gonna have 2 functioning females in my house as teenagers at the same time.
That's just chaos, man.
My little boy is gonna be slightly over that age.
I have two men, and then I have one 14-year-old boy and a almost 13-year-old girl, and it's a challenge.
That's special.
And then I have the younger boys, you know. Right now, I'm not gonna lie, the 11-year-old is proving to be the most difficult. Just with anger issues, fighting, annoying their brothers and sisters. I think there's some things behind it that are bringing that up, but I am trying to
He's got some hormones coming in.
He has a lot of feelings. He's all up in his feelings all the time, and I am every day consistently telling him, you have to get control of your feelings. You have to get control of your anger. You have to get control of this shit. Now, and at certain points, interjecting how, right? Because I think
you need tools.
yeah, you need ways of coping. You need ways of figuring that stuff out.
But see, that's what's crazy is like, as a man, you have a way to explain to a little boy
Yes.
ways of coping
Yeah.
to get your emotions, your anger, your rage, your sadness, whatever, under control.
My wife says, "Go take it out on this. Go take it out on." I'm like, no, that's not. No, because then he's going to take it out on a freaking person. What are you teaching him? What are you talking about? No, he needs.
Go take it out is not the answer.
You need something that you can focus on, that you can focus that energy on, other than the things that bother you.
Well, you can be destructive or you can be constructive.
Yes, exactly.
And you can be also, to go a little bit deeper, self-destructive
Yes.
or self-constructive.
So I started to give him some tasks. Started to give him some responsibility.
Yeah.
Because that is the point in life where you need to take responsibility for things. If you have no responsibility and you have that pent up tension, you're gonna take it out on him.
100%.
He's a little bit more mature than the other ones, which shows because, and I didn't catch it early enough, which is why I think he has the anger building up and stuff. I didn't catch it, so I didn't. But you know, my fault, not a big deal. We're working it out now, you know. But that's who you know. When I went to pop him today for disrespecting,
That's where you broke your hand.
yeah, damn near broke my hand. I don't know if it's broken or not, but I'm having trouble with it.
Did you hit
I
him
hope it's
or a wall?
Huh?
Did you hit him or a wall?
No, he stuck his elbow up, and the back of my hand hit his elbow point.
Mm-hmm.
Jacked my hand all the way up, and then I was like, "Oh hell no!" Then I got on really good with the hand that was jacked up, and I said, "You do not do that to me, sir." Because
So you backhanded your child.
you know, it was more of a now.
Yes or no question. You backhanded your child.
What is a backhand across the face?
Did you throw a backwards hand
Yeah.
in the direction?
I was literally going for his arm to pop him.
You hit your kid?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I know.
I believe that is.
Dude.
That is.
Literally,
That is so toxic.
I'm gonna explain this.
That is
story.
toxic
I'm
masculinity.
gonna do this really fast.
You shouldn't spank your children.
As soon as I got him, I was like, "You need to watch this Cub Scout video because he's about to be a Boy Scout and it's all about safety." Clicked it on. If you're being abused at your house, I was like, "Oh fuck."
Oh, hey, raise
Really?
your hand if you ever spanked as a child. Everybody in the house, raise your hand. You ever spanked as a child?
You ever spanked anybody out there?
Oh, everybody. Oh, okay. Well, hey, I got everyone I ever needed. Yeah. 100%.
So we didn't say like you were serving in the military.
Raise your hand if you were beaten to death. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is a little bit lacking nowadays. Is everybody's taught to be in their feelings? Even men, they're taught by society to be in their feelings.
Well, it's not socially acceptable to physically correct your child when they need physically correcting.
Okay, see, here's the thing with society now. They get abuse and discipline confused.
No. I agree with you, but that is not what society thinks.
Well, okay.
Society thinks that correcting your child is abuse.
Yes.
That's fucked up.
Yes, but
So-
that's discipline.
Somebody
It is discipline.
Somebody I talked to, they said, is it the shame that really, is supposed to be spare the rod, spare the child, right? Or, what is it? It's really the shame. And I was like, well, shame is part of it. Now, we've lost shame in society. Nobody's shameful of doing anything, which is bullshit. People should be ashamed of doing bad things. They should be, and that's why they should correct themselves. But
it goes back to. But what you go? I'm sorry.
So no, it's okay. But I think that shame is not everything. I think yes, you should be ashamed. You should feel like you did something wrong because you did, right? But pain is a very useful tool for correction. And I tell people this all the time. Do you know what a crucible is?
Mm-hmm.
A crucible, for those of you who don't know, is something extremely difficult that you go through. So difficult. There were times in my life where I did not know if I was going to live or die. But through those times, I came out, traumatic experiences. I came out 1,000 times better on the other side. That is a crucible. Something difficult that you go through, that you come out way better on the other side. Pain does that. Suffering does that. Those real things that happen in life, that exist in our life every single day, are things that we can learn from and develop from. Some of the best people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best people that do some of the greatest things came from broken homes, drunk dads, abusive relationships. They come from some of the worst places
Well, it's
in
always
the
gonna be
world.
drunk dads. Why can't it be drunk moms? You know who Slim Shady is? You know who my man Eminem, Marshall Mathers
And he's
is?
a horrible person.
He's
Jesus
terrible.
Lord Almighty.
I love his music. Probably one of the best rappers of all
so
time.
smart. I just wish he used it for better.
If he could get on the side with Tom McDonald, do you know how phenomenal that would be?
Oh my
Tom
gosh,
McDonald
dude.
was next level.
So awesome.
So imagine them actually agreeing on where society and politics is and do a collective.
Eminem's got too much money.
It comes down to guidance, and Eminem, with all of his talent and all of his wit and all of his brains,
Didn't have a father in his life.
Dog, you ever listen to an Eminem song? They're fucking horrible.
Yeah.
They're horrible towards women, especially in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Kids. Talks about murdering kids.
Mm-hmm.
dude. But some of
I
the-
listened to all that shit. I jammed to all that shit when
But
it came
it's
out.
so
I was
clever.
rolling with in my Honda Civic.
So
Compact,
clever, though.
Fucking Eminem, one of the greatest rappers of all time. But he just got the shit. He's got shit wrong.
Slim Shady.
I've told people-
But he's got shit wrong.
Yeah,
I've told people for the longest time that you can put the smartest individuals on the worst theory for thousands of years and they will see it out to the nth degree.
Mm-hmm.
They will fight for that shit and they will logically express every degree of how it could be possible, but it's not.
But that's what's so crazy, especially about Eminem, is like you have a dude who gets famous and is idolized and adored for what he spits on an album, and then turns around and says the exact fucking opposite as a normal human. That's crazy.
Which is not true.
It's not true.
Music
It's a lie.
Music is an expression of what you
Like
really
who are you? Who are you? Are you Eminem or are you Marshall Mathers? Because you can't be both.
I believe that music is an ultimate expression of who you are. The music that I make is normally the best when I'm in my feelings. You know,
100%.
Normally the best when I am.
When you gotta get it out.
That's how I expressed a lot of my feelings when I was young. You know.
So I used to write poetry. I was actually apparently really
Please read a poem. Please
He
read
had
a
a
poem.
shit ton of poetry.
Read a poem.
like I was apparently really good. I don't know. I just wrote it.
You did. I remember our parents finding all your poetry on one of our old computers and stuff.
Yeah.
It was wild.
They sent one to Grandma Frances. They wrote about Grandpa, and she had it. Published.
One thing I'm very jealous of him is I've never had a grandpa.
That's not the only thing you're jealous of about.
He did have a grandpa. It's just a 6-year difference when he passed away.
I
When
never
was
got to
in
meet
eighth
him.
grade. He was in the 2nd grade.
I never got to meet him.
Yeah.
I never got to meet any of my grandpas.
Although he is named after our mom's dad.
That's a blessing and a curse. Let me tell you.
You have a lot to live up to.
No.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest, Patrick. He's usually me fighting it, okay? So I'm glad it's not me.
You know, I just think
What's
you're a
the
little
rules about
premature
going
over
to
there.
What's the rules about going to Can I get paid? I need to pay.
Oh, you got your ass whooped twice tonight. That's it.
So that was a blessing and a curse because, I mean, you know, well, I mean, it was a blessing and a curse because, you know, when I didn't do right, I was, you know, everybody disowned me, and Grandma Frances said that, you know, your grandpa's turning over in the grave for what you did, which is when I decided to run away from home and go do even stupider things, right?
Yeah,
But
that's what adolescence is.
yeah, I had this is a crazy story. I don't know if I've ever told this story on Mead Talk, but
I don't know. We've had a lot of, we've had a lot of drinks on you.
yeah. Well, I told this story last night to a group of strangers, and they were like, "Man, you really lived a crazy life." I'm like, "Well, not crazy, I don't think." But yeah, when I was 17, I threw a bunch of parties at my parents' house when they were away. Destroyed the house. I wasn't there for a couple of them, which were the worst ones, and my friends threw for me, apparently. It's a bit of a story to get there, but on the shorter note, destroyed the house, took my parents' credit cards, maxed them out, broke things, all that kind of stuff, and basically ended up, I was like, okay, cool, well, the only logical option for me now is to run away from home. And so I was in the process of developing my career as a hitman. And so I had my first job in Oregon. I had 2 unregistered weapons, 10 grand for my first job. I was ready to go. I got my transcript from high school. It was in my senior year. I was going to go up to Oregon and finish my senior year out up there. And I was paying an individual, a family friend, for a car that I was now living in because I ran away. And my parents got with them and they called the police and said that I stole the car. So when I was walking out of 4th grade English class on my last day, I got arrested for Grand Theft Auto. And that's when everything changed. I decided, you know, maybe I shouldn't do that. It's a wild story, but what?
The mic's attacking him again.
You talk into it, it moves. Gets erect. It's just my voice.
I think it just really likes you. It really does. So,
aiming for the mouth.
so back to the original question: how do we raise our men? How do we raise them to be responsible adult males? How do we raise them to be men?
Discipline them, toughen them up.
I think the toughening aspect is a part that people don't get often, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, responsibility, doing the thing you're supposed to, all that kind of stuff. But what about the grit of an individual? Like, grit is a legitimate thing. How do you develop that in somebody? And I've got a lot of theories on this, okay? Well, okay, one in particular. Sorry, I know you're about to jump in.
I'm just hanging out. I'm just here for the mood.
So, I think that difficult times breed strong people. I think that there should be a series of difficult things that you have to deal with and overcome as a man to become a man, right?
Soft men breed war times breed hard men breed peace times breed soft men.
Exactly.
It's a cycle.
So I'm under the impression, and I like the way that Steve Harvey explained it. He said, my children aren't going to get a dime from me.
My dad said it differently. He said, I had no intention of my kids getting rich off of my death.
Right? I think that my kids should work for what they have. And how do you develop that mindset in them, because it is difficult, because you want them to have better than what you had, because you had to go through difficult times. You know how difficult it was, but you love them so much.
You teach them how to do it.
But they still have to have that difficult experience. They have to have that suffering somewhere in there to really know the importance of it, right?
But trust me, you can't live this life and not have a difficult experience.
Just any life.
Any life.
I understand that, but I think there's definitely a different degree of it. Well, and I think everybody needs a different. I think everybody needs a different degree. It took me many near-death experiences to finally understand that I needed to do something different with my life.
Sure.
And that was me. It may not take everybody that.
Well, not everybody can respond to that difficult experience.
Yeah, true. Yeah, some people shut down.
Yeah.
And
that again is a failure in my mind. That's a failure on the parents. You can do this. You can get through this. And it starts with small things.
yeah,
There's a building block there.
yeah, true.
My
I agree.
8-year-old will oftentimes say, I can't. I said, take that word out of your vocabulary.
Random. Always. I can't even take my own shirt off. I'm 5 years old and I can't take my own shirt off.
Like something breaks for him, and he'll as soon as it breaks, he'll go to me, Dad, can you fix this? No, bud. Throw it away. What? No.
I know
I
you
said,
can fix
okay.
it.
I said, okay, I'll tell you
No,
what.
I can.
And I told him, I said, I'll tell you what, I want you to sit there and I want you to try to fix it.
You fix it. Yeah.
He's like, I can't. Yes, you can. Fix it.
Yeah.
And if you can't, throw it away.
I did the same thing with mine.
Yeah.
I can't do it now. I can't fix it. I
And
can't put it
then
back together.
there are certain things.
Here's the tools. I've shown you
And then-
once. Here's the
Right,
tools.
and I was gonna say, and that's what I was getting at. There are certain things where, when I tell him, fix it, he will try, and I watch him and make sure he tries, and when he can't actually figure it out, then I step in as a father figure and say, let me show you how to do it, but you have to remember this.
As it's supposed to.
But let's walk through it together.
Right.
You can do that with your daughter also.
You can, absolutely. That's why I said as a father figure.
As a father.
Because that is your role, is to teach them how to do that stuff.
Right.
Because that leads to the self-sufficiency that we were talking about earlier.
And we can talk about raising daughters later on a different Mead Talk,
Sure.
because that's a totally different story.
That
To
one
me,
I have
that's
no
a lot
experience
of.
in.
That is like full-on horror house.
Oh, but that to me, that's a lot of. That's mostly what you do with your wife,
Right.
as an example.
But that's the other, you need a wife.
Oh yeah.
There are
has to be
some
two.
things that you have to have. You just have to have a female for it. Even when it comes to raising a man still is going to need a female influence in his life.
They need
a
to
solid
know.
female.
They need to know how to treat a woman,
They need to learn.
and that's a lot of example as well as how you treat your wife, how they see you treat your wife.
All right, so I have this thing that I like to say, which I can't remember where I copied from because it's totally stolen, but in our world nowadays, and it is just so fucking true, is a man is taught how to treat a woman, but not what to expect from one. And a woman is taught what to expect from a man, but not how to treat one.
Yeah. Hence why women expect
Hence the
men,
divorce rate at 80-something%.
women expect men to pay for the date, and
It's not even the date. Like get past all the elementary.
we're talking about we're married.
We're married. A man knows how to treat his wife, but not what to expect from her.
Right.
You know, like we can dig on this later, but like,
Look, all I'm saying is,
it's
when I walk in the house,
it
I want my
goes deep to
sandwich.
me. It goes deep to me.
I want my sandwich. I want my food for the next day.
And that's a really fucking simple expectation. It's a really fucking simple expectation.
But that's all men
But
want.
that's it. It's such a fucking easy thing.
So why are you laughing?
So fucking easy. Can I just get a sandwich? Like, can I get a hug and a sandwich? Like, this is not hard. This is not hard.
My sandwich. While I'm eating my sandwich, I want you to go get ready in the bed.
Right.
So that when I get in there, we're good. You
I'm
know?
also going to want to take a shower. Be in there with the water hot. This is not hard.
It's not difficult.
Yeah.
We're basic.
Right.
Very basic.
We're very basic.
All right, so
Women want emotional stability, though. With a man that doesn't have emotional stability, it's very difficult for a woman to treat them right.
I agree.
And
that's where having a stable male figure who has at least some semblance.
Apparently women want men to, at least mine wants me to have emotions. I don't know what that is, but
she says that it's not true.
one day she's gonna come home and I'm gonna start crying. She's gonna be like, "What's wrong?" I'm gonna be like, "You know what's wrong." And
You don't know? You don't know? You haven't figured it out yet? You should already know.
Don't get off that stage so we can get our kid in bed. You're going to be in trouble.
yeah,
It's probably about time to wrap this up.
yeah.
I think that we're all in agreement tonight that that our boys should be raised to be tough. Our boys should be raised to have morals. Our boys should be raised to take care of women and girls and protect them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for, right?
I think that is our sole purpose, is to protect those.
I don't think that's our sole purpose. I think that's what we were mentally, physically, and emotionally designed for, is to protect and serve the ones that we love.
Not sole purpose, but that is our one of our purposes.
Right, one of our, not sole purpose.
Yeah,
sole
yeah.
purpose.
Sorry, I went a little far there, a little exaggerated there. But yeah, I
We'll have a
agree.
quality. But yes, I do feel like as a man on earth, roaming around,
Yeah,
if you have a wife, or if you have a child, let's just say you have a male child, you teach them those things.
yeah. And I would go as far as to say is that's why we have 90% of men in jail, because they're not taught those things. I would go as far as to say that most of the pedophiles out there are men, because they're not taught the sacredness of a woman. They're not taught the morals. They're not taught those things that they're supposed to be taught.
They never grow up.
They never grow up.
They never grow up. Yeah.
They're still boys in their mind.
Well, I mean, those, and I'll say ignorant, and I don't mean ignorant in the fact that they're like
Stupid.
right.
But
I mean,
they just don't know.
They don't know. They
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what ignorant means, but most people take it with negative connotations.
Right.
But yeah, I use it often because I'm the type of person that uses the trigger words.
They are ignoring the moral reality.
Yeah, I'm the type of person that uses the trigger words because I want them to become normalized again.
They should be
As
normalized.
words that are legitimate, like retarded.
Mhm.
I think it's a legitimate word.
She's about to be in the stage.
But on that note, I think, to sum it all up, that's it. We have to raise men to be strong, moral, protect those that they love.
Be tough.
Be
tough, yeah.
Be tough, And on that note, I think we need to end this before we all get
Before we all get our asses
mauled. And so, because we all have children,
That's a stare right there.
and we do need to get them to bed. So.
We're actually scared for Patrick right now because he has to go.
I'm scared for my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's not me who's going to die. She's going to leave me alive. She's going to leave me barely alive.
We'll be what she feeds off of the next couple weeks.
All right. Well, Mead Talk out. That's not the right one! Josh, why did I do that?
It could have worked though. We got
I like the applause.
to
I like the applause. The applause is great.
It's good.
That was it. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, let's talk about daughters next time. I won't have much to say, but
Talk about who? Daughters. Daughters.
I can do daughters.
Y'all keep talking, she don't even know where the kids are.